professional but engaged in her community. I don't speak Spanish, so I apologize for mispronouncing the next word. She is part of Colinas Activos from Somos Bay, where she works with other young adults to help raise awareness of issues in their community, including voting rights. And I'm going to share your presentation, and you see the next slide if you want.
Good evening. My name is Elena Rodriguez, 14 years old, and I'm part of Colinas Activos in Somos Bay. Colinas Activos is a group of young adults where we use our classes, art, and podcasting to be able to express our needs. To be able to express that we also have a voice and we care about the decisions of our government, because those decisions have continuously impact our past, present, and future lives. Before I joined Colinas Activos, I would have made a new businesses, but after my first meeting with Colinas Activos, little by little I got involved in my community. Eventually, I joined the coalition for our voice, right, and vote. This campaign supports making sure that all people of San Jose will eventually have the right to vote. Ever since my first meeting with Voice, Right, and Vote, I've met with the city executive, council member, staff, and the average. From all these activities, outreach has got to be one of my favorites. When I left on board, I don't know what I'm about to do. I don't know what it's been through. Sometimes I knock on doors and people don't answer, or they will show me that it's in the campaign. But sometimes they share a similar point of view to the campaign, or even share some of their struggles. For me, it's easiest talking to people I know every day. Right now, and I will talk to them because I see them around and will talk with it. And I know that although we may not be 100% the same, we do go through similar struggles. We all deserve the right to vote because this vote includes all of our lives, including all the citizens who already have the right to vote. Many of us have different needs because of different factors. The right to vote will be able to give the person that needs more school resources, more health resources, more help to rent. It will give them those resources. Some parts of San Jose lack other resources. In my own life, my parents, since I was little, they have worked hard and continue to work hard to be able to provide for my sisters and I can't complain because I've always had groups and food available to me. But because of the excessive hours that they work, I never got to spend as much time with them as I wish I could. And I know that many members of my community also go through the struggle of constantly working just to be able to survive. But I'm sure that other communities in San Jose might be struggling with different issues as well that I personally haven't gone through. With the right to vote, we'll be able to express our different needs and make sure that all communities in San Jose are able to prosper. The right to vote. The right to vote creates a positive impact with the education system. We can all agree that education is very important for the future. For example, some schools get, but there are some issues in the education. For example, some schools get more resources than others. In my own personal experience, I come from the middle school with college around language academy. In that school, they only provided 3 out of the 7 classes we were supposed to have. Feel like a regular version. Thankfully, now beginning high school, I will be surveyed at Jesuit High School, which is filled with many opportunities to help students becoming professionals. I also understand that not having any experience in this subject in middle school will have an impact on how much I struggle in high school. I know that there are many other issues in our educational system and that many of the children notice this. Unfortunately, these children can't vote, so the only way for their voices to be heard is for the parents to express the needs of the children. For schools that have a majority of parents who are not allowed to vote, there really is no way for the necessity of these students to be heard or for them to be represented when it comes to making decisions which of their students can count. With the right to vote, these students will no longer be ignored, and schools will be able to make sure that the needs of these students are being met in order to make a more educational and safer environment for them at school. Personally, I believe that safety is a very important component in order to make a good and trustworthy community in our beloved city of San Jose. And I'm sure you can all agree. But recently there always has been some issues regarding this important component. For example, the Texas sports shooting, police brutality, and violence. All of these issues put in jeopardy what safety is supposed to be. Although not all of us have experienced probably some communities experience it more than others, which is why if we are ever going to have to talk about safety, if we're ever going to make decisions about safety, we need to include everybody's voice. Every person in San Jose must have the right to vote if we want to have it on others. These people, although you might not take them into account as much, they also want a safe environment. So why neglect them to have a right to express this need? Without the right to vote, they can't express their need for safety. Shouldn't the city of San Jose be flexible to create a safe environment for a diversity group of people? It's important that all voices are taken into account because one voice of community by itself will not be able to achieve this because the situation in the community may not be the same as in another community. The right to vote will create a safer environment within San Jose for a diversity of people. Giving everyone the vote in San Jose will help everyone. We always talk about how innovative we want to be, on how we want to be a lead in technology. And I can assure you that in between all those voices you neglect, in between all those voices we refuse to hear, there are people with amazing ideas that could lead us into that position. In between all those voices, you could be the person to invent the next technology device, the next phone, the next TV. But in order to do this, you must hear them and provide them the same resources as everyone else, and this starts with giving them the right to vote. We all deserve the right to vote, no matter their immigration status, because we all have different stories, we all go through different obstacles, and sometimes we need help. But without that right to vote, you take away our humanity, because they take away our voice. They take away the voice of our community, and it's only because we cannot express what kind of we need. That is when our political progress, our community progress, our economic progress goes to ruin. Why? Because we're taking away the voice of 180,000 people. When a community is facing an issue and they are marginalized, we as a city will start to fall down. Because sooner or later, it will impact the rest of the city. This solution may be naive to some, but in reality, it's common sense. There are people just like us who work hard every single day, and they are also helping San Jose move forward. They may have a different background, but they come here and search for a home, one with better opportunities. Many undocumented people have lived in San Jose for most of their lives. San Jose is their home. So why they let them to have the right to have a voice in their own home? Yet it seems that we are only marginalized when it benefits the government. For example, when it comes to taxes. All of a sudden we're equal, just like everyone else. Just because someone is documented, it doesn't mean that they owe taxes or that they do less than citizens, right? Taxes are used for the city on long-term privilege, yet the undocumented people that work so hard to pay those taxes don't have the privilege to vote or help decide what that money goes into. Most of the time, the city council can't represent the community because they don't know what it's like to live the shoes of the community members. You might not know what it's like to work under the hot sun all day. You might not know what it's like to fear they will be provide your family your child with proper education. You might not know what it's like to take your children to school and fear that the next question will be at their school. You might not know what it's like to be terrified that they will come and take you and separate you from your family. You may have faced similar obstacles, but never to the extent that the community itself has. The moment you decide to support the position of giving every person consider the right to vote, your ideas, concepts,
make a decision. The council can start their work. Remember, no taxes without representation.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good evening. My name is Socorro Montaño, and I'm born and raised in San Jose. Today I'm standing in solidarity with the amazing immigrant leaders who you've heard from. I don't want to be repetitive, so I'd like to use my time to counter the opposition comments received over email. Many of them claim that it's a slippery slope or unfair to allow non-citizens to vote. To them I say it is common sense to allow every human in our city who pay taxes and build their families, building roots and communities, to participate in this basic civic process. It is a slippery slope to a more humane society. It is unfair how profit-driven our immigration system is. Many of the opposition's comments say that it denies their own rights. That's clearly a fear-based response. That's racist. As a citizen, I recognize that having more people doesn't diminish my power. It increases our humanity and connections here in our city. Thank you for your consideration and expect to see us many more times until we win. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker. I'd also like to call Daniel Sanchez, Jose Servin, and Sandra Hernandez.
Good afternoon. My name is Silvia Baez. This is my first time here. I didn't plan to be here today. I was just riding my bike when I saw the protest, and I decided to join because I know this to be one of the root causes of social issues. I am a U.S. citizen, and my brother is not. He has 3 kids, and he cannot buy property because tax rates for undocumented people are ridiculously high. I have my friend Victoria, and I love her. She has a 14-year-old son, and since he's a baby, he's been dropped off at any house because she cannot afford quality childcare. Her son has behavioral issues and self-esteem issues. This is because of poverty and the constant absence of her mother. She works at Carol Jr. My friend Yuri, she's a single mother of 2, and since I know her, she rents 1 room because otherwise she would be able to afford rent. She works Monday through Saturday. This is not lazy people, this is not stupid people, this is hardworking people, and they want to get ahead. But because of those inequalities, they cannot afford time to get a better job or to have education. Me and you have job benefits, and we have the right to get a better quality of life, but they cannot. And for them, I'm speaking today. Please consider these people because I see that it's totally unfair. It's unfair for my brother, it's unfair for my friends, that I have privileges just because I was born a U.S. citizen, even though they contribute more than I do. And I want to read the quote from the presentation. Restoring immigrant voting can rectify inequities.
Any night, the right to vote is next speaker. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Ramon Lopez, and I'm here for District 7, and I resided in the last 15 years. And I've been working here in California for 25 years. I've been paying my taxes. I get married, I say I'm single, when I got Betty Johnson, 2 years old. So that'd be great if we have the chance to vote like everybody else. Because I think pay taxes, you gas, you pay taxes, you pay whatever you buy, you pay taxes. So insurance, everything. So that'd be more than grateful for my family to have vote that make a difference for the schools, who is going to represent in our community. That'd be wonderful for all the Spanish people, the immigrants. That'd be more wonderful if they give us the papers. But I know it's very hard for the COVID right now, and they've been having a lot of hard time, but that's what we're asking for. If I hope we come back, if we have to, and you guys remember, together we can make a difference. And this is a thank you so much.
Thank you, next speaker. I'd also like to pull up Moises Perez, unless you already spoke. I had Moises earlier, I'm not sure if it's the same one. Gabriel Manrique and Marisol Gutierrez.
Hi, my name is Daniel Sanchez. I live in San Jose my whole life, and I'm here to explain why I think immigrants should have voting rights. My parents have lived in this country for 35 years and never worked for us to vote and travel out of the country to visit our family. And thank you for your time.
Hello, Honorable Council. My name is Jose Servín, and I'm the Director of Advocacy with SIRE. You've heard about this country's illustrious history in regards to voting rights. I want to talk to you today about the future. I'm concerned about the future because there's an unprecedented attack, a concerted attack, to suppress the voting rights of working class people in this country. Since the last presidential election, 19 states have passed new laws suppressing the right to vote, specifically for Black and Indigenous communities of color. Partisan election audits are trying to cast doubt into the last election's results, and polls show that a significant number of Republicans still believe that the 2020 presidential election was stolen. Fact check, it was not. We have today an opportunity to take a step forward and expand the American imagination. We're not talking about giving anybody a handout. I've stood shoulder to shoulder with some of these people back here, countless members of the undocumented community, DACA recipients like me, TPS holders, people awaiting visas, and many other people defined by the legal limbo that they're stuck in, to make our voice heard one way or another. We've helped some of you win, we've helped defeat some of your opponents, and we've fought hard and won on issues like workers' protections and healthcare. We've knocked on doors and we've canvassed, and we've even registered people to vote. All this while lacking that privilege ourselves. I'm not here to ask, but rather to tell you that we're going to win this fight. I know that we are. I've read the California Constitution, which was the one attack on the voting rights issue in San Francisco. There's nothing that precludes us from expanding voting rights locally or at the state level. In places like San Francisco and New York, community organizers are already preparing to appeal the attacks that have been carried out in those cities by people who ironically don't live there, who maybe have never visited those cities. And they're going to win. So let's get this done. I know that you can't make a vote today, but we can support passing municipal voting rights and set it up for the next city council. Thank you.
Thank you. We're now going to 1-minute comments, 2 minutes for people using an interpreter. Next speaker.
For the time. Para cada persona hay un minuto para dar
Ahora nos vamos a mover de 2 minutos a 1 minuto para aquellos que sean intérpretes. En vez de 4 minutos, ahora van a ser 2 minutos.
Good evening, Mayor of the City Council. My name is Gabriel Manrique. I'm organized by Luna, and I've been a resident of San Jose for 32 years. I'm here to support expanding the voting rights to everyone living in San Jose. It is unfair to tax our immigrant residents, and yet they have very limited representation. Expanding the vote will have a positive impact on all communities. Undercooked immigrants contribute about $5.3 billion in state and local taxes yearly. Our federal immigration system is flawed, and we can't wait for change to happen at a national level. It is time for the city of San Jose to lead that way and extend open voting rights to non-citizen residents. Residents of the city of San Jose must be guaranteed the right to elect their representative to public office in our society. We are at an important moment in history where we have the opportunity to restore the democracy, where we value the voices of all people who live and work here. Please extend local voting rights to non-citizens in San Jose. Thank you.
Candidate call for names: Kim Buto, Thomas Lynn, Rudy Ortega, and Victor Vasquez.
Good afternoon, I'm Maricela Rodriguez, proud Executive Director of Siren. And we're here today to support expanding the role of all residents of San Jose. Siren is proud to be the political home to a strong base of bold immigrant leaders, and for the past 35 years, we've been fighting for federal immigration reform that our community members urgently need, and continue to hear false promises. You heard one of our leaders has lived here for over 35 years, and we haven't seen any reform, and hope we won't see that in the near future. Despite decades of political deadlock, the Siren community has built political power, advocating for meaningful change at the local, state, and federal level. In San Jose, there are over 150,000 individuals without citizenship that contribute to our society, to our local economy, and who pay taxes. While everyone's immigration journey is a complicated path of displacement, legality, and resilience, we believe that everyone deserves the opportunity to decide on the policies, leaders, and changes that take place at the local level. In fact, we conducted an informal poll amongst our community members here in San Jose residents, and 93% of the people we asked from San Jose strongly agree with expanding the vote at the local level. Thank you.
I also want to call Ms. Ryan Mendoza, Lucasita, and Elizabeth.
Dear Mayor Ricardo and other city council members, I'm Thomas Wynn, a Vietnamese American voter, and I would like to express my idea that everybody, whenever we come to the United States, especially in Santa Clara County, we all have a benefit for the school and for the family, small children, housing, everything that apply in the county, and everybody will be treated equally, no discrimination. Therefore, if we go to vote just for the benefit, it's not all right. The vote is a very valuable vote. It needs to have to do something to earn that credit, and they just do only one thing, that become a citizen to vote. I have an organization to organize the citizenship class for the people. I'm teaching them, helping them from 18 years old to 70 years old. And everybody is happy to go to the class because they understand the basic law, the basic right.
Thank you.
May I have a lot from you?
Okay, I'd like to, I don't think I need an interpreter for this one. I'm starting to receive requests to speak on topics that are not extending municipal voting eligibility. The public comment shown on the agenda is only public comment for this topic. There is no open forum. So I just want to remind you guys, thank you, next speaker.
Hey, good evening. My name is Kim Guttel, and I live in District 6. I'm a member of Showing Up for Racial Justice, a partner of Pasos, and a member of Bell's Park. I support the vote that actually vote campaign to extend local voting rights to non-citizens of San Jose. The only reason I can vote is because I was born in this country, a country that I used to believe was the land of the free. I still believe we have a moral obligation to welcome the tired, poor, and huddled masses yearning to breathe free, to paraphrase the words that for generations have greeted immigrants as they enter this country. But it turns out that the home of the brave pretty much only applies to the immigrants who have the courage to cross our unconscionably cruel and racist borders to offer their families more. For the record, immigrants contribute directly to the economy.
Kính thưa quý vị, tôi Thomas Nguyễn là một thành viên trong cộng đồng Việt Nam ở tại thành phố San Jose. Ngày hôm nay tôi có tham dự một phiên họp của Hội đồng thành phố San Jose vào lúc 6 giờ ngày 23 tháng 8 năm 2022 về một cái vấn đề là Hội đồng thành phố sẽ lắng nghe tiếng nói của cư dân thành phố San Jose về vấn đề sẽ để cho tất cả các người đến thành phố San Jose không cần có quốc tịch mà vẫn có thể được đi bầu cho những vấn đề liên hệ tới thành phố San Jose. Thì ngày hôm nay trong phòng lắng nghe của Hội đồng thành phố có khoảng độ 300 người mễ đến để trình bày những lý do và những ý kiến tại sao nên để cho những cái người di dân không có giấy tờ hoặc là những cái người chưa có bằng quốc tịch đều được đi bầu như nhau. Bởi vì họ lấy lý do đó là một cái sự công bằng và dân chủ cho tất cả mọi người. Tuy nhiên đối với tôi không nghĩ như vậy, bởi vì cái lá phiếu là một lá phiếu vô cùng quan trọng. Nó dành riêng cho những người xứng đáng để được đi bầu. Nếu thực sự ra những người mà họ muốn có cái quyền lợi thì khi họ đặt chân đến thành phố Santa Clara, họ nộp đơn xin quyền lợi ở quận hạt Santa Clara, sở xã hội, họ sẽ có đủ mọi thứ hết, từ trường học cho tới những bữa ăn trưa của học sinh, cho tới tiền chăm nuôi con cái, từ housing, tất cả mọi thứ đều có hết. Như vậy thì cái quyền lợi trong cái việc đi bầu của họ nó không có thiết thực. Mà nếu họ đi nhập tịch Hoa Kỳ, họ mới có cơ hội để học cái căn bản của tiếng Anh để sống ở Mỹ. Và nếu họ có tiếng Anh thì họ mới có thể đi làm được và họ có thể kiếm được tiền bạc để mà nuôi sống gia đình. Còn nếu họ không học tiếng Mỹ, họ sẽ rất khó kiếm được công ăn việc làm. Và từ cái chỗ đó họ sẽ trở thành những cái gánh nặng cho xã hội. Và điều quan trọng nữa là nó không công bằng. Trong khi đó những cái người mà người ta thi vô quốc tịch rồi người ta mới được đi bầu thì lúc đó người ta mới thấy được cái giá trị của lá phiếu. Còn nếu tất cả mọi người từ bên Mễ, từ bên các xứ Nam Mỹ, Bắc Mỹ đến thành phố San Jose này, họ ra bầu cử như vậy thì họ sẽ ảnh hưởng trên lá phiếu và sẽ khuynh loát cái sự bầu cử ở đây, nó không còn công chính nữa. Họ cứ đa số là họ thắng, mà không cần biết là họ có quốc tịch hay không. Họ chỉ cần đến thành phố này ghi danh trong 25 ngày là cư dân của thành phố San Jose là họ được bầu ngay. Đây là những cái luật lệ nó rất lỏng lẻo và nó sẽ làm cho thành phố cũng như county, tất cả những người nào ra tranh cử sẽ phải làm sao liên lạc với tất cả những người dân, từ những người có quốc tịch và những người không có quốc tịch. Nó sẽ tốn kém rất là nhiều cho họ. Và hệ thống bầu cử của quận hạt sẽ phải chi trả một số tiền rất là lớn để in những phiếu bầu, in những tài liệu bầu cử cho tất cả mọi người dân ở trong thành phố San Jose. Dù rằng họ không có quốc tịch cũng phải in cho họ. Và từ cái chỗ đó, cái giá trị của cái lá phiếu sẽ ảnh hưởng tới cái sự tốn kém của quận hạt. Và quận hạt bắt buộc phải tăng thuế nhà cửa. Và từ đó những cái thuế nhà cửa đó sẽ bị chủ nhà bắt những người thuê nhà phải trả. Và như vậy người dân đã nghèo sẽ càng ngày càng nghèo hơn. Trong khi đó nếu họ không tranh đấu để đòi hỏi những người không có quốc tịch mà vẫn được đi bầu thì cái số tiền mà quận hạt tiết kiệm được sẽ được sử dụng cho những cái quyền lợi mà chăm sóc cho gia đình của họ nhiều hơn. Cho nên họ tranh đấu như thế này sẽ gây ra sự thiệt hại cho họ rất nhiều. Và cái việc bầu cử sẽ rất là khó khăn cho những người ra tranh cử. Mỗi một lần tranh cử như vậy họ sẽ tốn kém nửa triệu đô la cho tới 1 triệu đô la cho những chức vụ của hội đồng thành phố hay những chức vụ khác, ủy viên học khu hoặc là những cái chức vụ ảnh hưởng tới cái chức vụ giám sát viên của quận hạt và những chức vụ khác quan trọng hơn. Cho nên đó là những vấn đề mà chúng ta thấy tiền chi phí cho cuộc bầu cử sẽ ảnh hưởng trên những cái người thuê nhà, và người dân sẽ càng ngày càng thấy nhiều cái sự xáo trộn hơn nữa. Bởi vì đại đa số những người di dân bất hợp pháp đến Mỹ hay những cái người di dân không có giấy phép, không có giấy coi như là hợp pháp, họ đều là những cái người đến từ các nước Trung Nam Mỹ, và tất cả những sắc dân đó họ sẽ giành hết tất cả những cái chức vụ ở trong thành phố và gây ra một cái cán cân không công bằng và trong cái vấn đề chính trị, và sẽ gây ra những sự bất ổn trong tương lai. Và nếu tình trạng này cứ kéo dài, thành phố San Jose là một thành phố đứng thứ 10 lớn nhất nước Mỹ mà có những cái cuộc tổ chức như thế này thì đất nước Hoa Kỳ này sẽ càng ngày càng đi đến những sự rối ren và khó khăn hơn trong vấn đề chính trị, và sự chia rẽ đất nước sẽ xảy ra, và những cái sự đấu tranh giữa hai miền Nam Bắc sẽ bắt đầu khởi thủy từ những cuộc bầu cử dành cho những cái người di dân không có giấy tờ như thế này. Cho nên đây là một vấn nạn mà cộng đồng người Việt và các sắc dân thiểu số khác cần phải suy nghĩ, cần phải ngồi lại với nhau để tranh đấu, tìm một biện pháp nào đó để chúng ta cất tiếng nói của chúng ta ở trên hội đồng thành phố, để cho những cái dự luật sắp tới dành quyền bầu cử cho những cái người di dân không có giấy phép sẽ không được chấp thuận bởi hội đồng thành phố. Tôi Thomas Nguyễn rất mong cộng đồng của chúng ta vì vấn đề này ngồi lại với nhau, những người lãnh đạo cộng đồng, lãnh đạo các hội đoàn, chúng ta chú ý tới trường hợp này, ngồi xuống và chúng ta tìm ra những cái sai sót, những cái khó khăn và những cái khuyết điểm và những cái bất lợi cho cái việc bầu cử dành cho tất cả mọi người, không phải công dân Mỹ. Nó sẽ ảnh hưởng tới đời sống chung của chúng ta như thế nào. Đó là cái quyền lợi của tất cả mọi người.